Have you ever heard someone look at a baby and say, "Oh, what a miracle"? Hey, I'm Jared, Chief Hypocrite here at Untold Ministries. And as many first-time parents do, my wife and I explored some of the books that help you know what to expect when you're going to have a baby. So before we welcomed our firstborn into the world, we discovered a chapter in pretty much each of the books that was a little nerve-wracking, to say the least. Now, warning, if you're pregnant and you're prone to worry, I highly recommend you avoid those chapters. Let someone you love read them and guide you through should you need that. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's get back to Thaddeus in the NICU. Things were going all right. The nurses have been very upfront with us that babies born this early typically experience a lot of progress, followed by a lot of backslides. 2 steps forward, 1 step back was a phrase commonly used in the NICU. And it was easy for us to realize that we needed to trust them on this fact because we quickly saw how true it was. And I'm going to show you a few pictures as we continue. Thaddeus was 1 pound 10 ounces when he was born at 24 weeks. His skin was transparent enough you could see his tiny little organs. His underdeveloped lungs required proactive monitoring and support to keep breathing. His eyelids were still fused shut. He needed a billy light, as many babies do, especially the premature. To help protect his underdeveloped immune system, my wife and I had to take extra precautions, like washing our hands for 2 minutes when we entered into the NICU, putting on masks, gowns, and gloves. And these weren't just for our little Thaddeus, but for the other babies there as well. We definitely did not want to carry anything in with us, germ-wise. One of Thaddeus's nurses at one point looked at my wife and I and said, "Have you seen the box near the place where you wash your hands?" And I recalled seeing an organizer with stacks of paper neatly organized across what was maybe 20 compartments. Lovingly, yet sternly, she recommended we take one of each of them home and study them to prepare our hearts for what may happen. "What are they?" we asked. She explained that they were handouts pertaining to medical conditions common in the NICU, and we should study them just in case Thaddeus should develop any of them. And our vocabulary quickly grew. We learned about things like the different grade of brain bleeds, ROP, neck, and chronic lung, just to name a few. And there was our Thaddeus, labeled with another term that was very new to us, micro-premie. When you look at all that could go wrong in a pregnancy, you realize how much of a miracle newborn life really is. So much could go wrong, and thankfully it doesn't. But our eyes were open to a reality that is hard to understand unless you've been there. And my mind goes back to that first night when I reached out and touched Thaddeus's hand with the tip of my pinky and completely overwhelmed his palm. 10 tiny fingers and 10 tiny toes. Thinking of all that could have gone wrong up to this point, and yet it didn't. He was here, breathing, with help. What a miracle! And that's when God spoke to me. "You know, Jared, they don't stop being miracles when they grow up." Ouch. I knew exactly what God meant. You see, there was this coworker that I felt was very underqualified for the tasks we were giving him. And he wasn't doing a great job with a lot of things. And I did my best to show the boss that. It was wrong on me. I had given up on him. I wish I had. But the thought came into my mind then. How would things be different in my coworker's life if I treated him like the miracle he was and helped him instead of hurting him behind his back? Thanks for watching. In this series of videos, we're going to touch on the highlights and the lowlights of our experiences with our good God in this series called Thoughts on Thaddeus. But in the meantime, take a deep breath in a minute and ask yourself who in your life could benefit from you treating them like the miracle that God sees them as.